now that we've defined our properties, there's several other things we should do. Um, the first of these is begin to kind of set up some parameters around the property line. There's in your site plan, if you go to your site plan or site level that they've created, you'll see these two markers, okay? And these can be very useful. Usually one is a project marker, which is this. I'm gonna unclip, okay, that and move it over here. And the project marker gives you information about the project site. And what I like to do with the project marker is to snap it to some point in the project that I know where that is. This other is the survey, okay, an internal survey point. So if you have a survey and you know that you know what the different dimensions and elevations are, for instance, the actual elevation here, you might change this survey point to reflect those so that you have the actual survey. We're just going to snap it at this point right on top of the other one. And then what we want to do is make sure those two things are locked. Okay, so let's see, make sure I got them locked. Ah, hit the tab key here. Okay, let's unlock that. That. Okay, so that's one of the first things that I would do on my site plan. You can turn this on other views, but it's turned off in all the other views. The other thing is you may notice is that we have our elevations here, okay? And notice that they're all turned towards true north, or what was originally true north. And we've rotated it now to north. So these are kind of slight off axis. We wouldn't want that, especially if we were going to do our building so that it was, you know, parallel to this property line or parallel to this property line. We want those. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to delete these out, okay? And it'll say okay. Uh, and that's the easiest way rather than, I haven't found an easy way to rotate them. So I'm just going to remove these. Okay, and when we do, of course, that removes all of our elevations over here. And you'll see that I put one in right here. I'll just go ahead and delete that one too, and we'll just start from scratch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come back and put in a series of elevations. And now that I have this rotated in this direction, when I go in to put an elevation in, okay, it wants me to save the project, of course. So I go to put the elevation in, you can see there's an elevation marker right there. And so I'm going to just put an elevation marker in there, put one across the street here, put one across the street here, and put one across the street there. Okay. And if we look at the elevations, if we kind of remember, we went counterclockwise in this direction. So this elevation should be, this elevation marker here should be elevation 1A, right? Um, and so you can see that's the elevation uh, right now. That's not the one we want. We want the elevation that looks to the north, right? So what we're going to do is select this and we're going to uncheck, okay, which is going to delete that section. And then we're going to recheck this one, which is going to add uh, another one here, elevation 1B, I think now. So that's the B direction. Of course, what we want to do is rename that. So this is the north elevation because we're looking north, okay? And we're going to just go around. I'm going to pause, do this. There's no reason you watching me do it. And then I'll come. Okay, now I've corrected all these and I renamed them, I think. I told you that this was the north elevation. Of course, it's not the north elevation. The elevation is based on, name is based on the direction in which the facade of the building is facing. So this would actually be south. So I corrected that. Um, let's look, if we go in there, we'll see that right now this elevation, the limit of that elevation is, you know, only about 5 feet or so. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we extend so that we can see the whole site, so that when we go into that elevation, uh, we can see the whole vertical site. Okay, if we didn't, uh, I'll show you, for instance, this one right here, which is the west elevation. Notice there's very little, if nothing, in there because once again, the elevation. Now, you may not want all that behind there, and so you can reset the settings as you feel the need to do so. Another thing that make you aware of is that if we look at this west site, okay, this west elevation, these two buildings should be seen or could be seen in the background if we wanted them to be. I've got this set so that the depth of this goes all the way beyond those buildings. But if I go into that east elevation, okay, you'll notice that the buildings, the pads are there. You can see the pad right there, but the building isn't there. And the reason is once again, that visibility setting issue. If we go into edit and we go down here and we look, we'll see that masses aren't turned on. So those masses that we created earlier aren't being seen, okay? And now there they are. Of course, they're way too big, but that's okay. We can bring at least a little bit. Okay. Um, so anyway, just remember if something doesn't appear that should be there, you may want to check visibility graphics and make sure that it's turned on for that particular view. Okay. Um, with, with that done, then we can go here and so we've set the project token there. Uh, and put the elevations in, and now we're ready to put a mass on this building that represents just an initial base building mass is all I want you to do. Nothing significant. It's not a design decision. It's just to show me what percentage of the plot of land is, and I'll do that in the next video.